Hi, everybody. Jeff Marr here with STEM School Highlands Ranch, and today we are talking about building ships. Building ships is a wonderful program here at STEM School Highlands Ranch that connects our students to the real world via internships, mentorships, relationships, and much more. And we are profiling some of the board members who sit on the advisory board for building ships. And one of those is Margaret Albrecht, Senior Director, Treasury at Visa. And STEM has a wonderful relationship with Visa. Margaret, thank you so much for talking with us.
Sure.
So we wanted to ask you about your role as a board member on the advisory board for building ships. I know that you are pretty new to the board, but at the same time, you just completed a mentorship with one of our seniors who just graduated at STEM. Tell me about that.
So we've been talking, Conrad and I've been talking since last fall. And actually, right before Conrad, I worked with Dr. Kennedy with a student in Belize and helped her kind of get some ideas on how to start her path toward accounting. And so that was interesting talking to someone out, other part of the world, just giving her some real world advice to say, get out on the streets, start talking to people, find out what accountants do, for small businesses and et cetera. So then I started working with Conrad, and, it was an interesting time to start working with a student because he was preparing for college and applications. So we started last fall talking a lot about his hopes and dreams, and I think it was a great path we went on.
And that student is Conradquam, who graduated from STEM this year. So tell me about some of the sessions that you had with Conrad. Did you just speak to him via Zoom and talk about his career path and give him advice?
Yeah, so we were Zoom only, of course, and we kind of started talking about his interests, mathematics, and just spurred some things in my head about people I knew in mathematics. And we were able to have a great session with one of my good friend's daughters who studied mathematics and ended up, she's working in New York City and with an insurance company. And it was a great session. I think we spoke for an hour with her on the phone, and I was just listening. I mean, half of the conversations I couldn't even understand all the mathematics terms they were throwing around, but I think it really was inspiring to Conrad to understand her journey. She's from Colorado also, and what her thoughts were about what she did right in college and what she would have redone. I think she switched her major second year or something. So I think that was interesting to hear, someone close to his age, their experience. So that was really good. And what I tried to share with my career is more about the function of working, how it's very different than you'd ever think. You're in school learning all the, the technical skills almost, but it's all the soft skills in your career that aren't as they're never taught to you. You kind of learn it along the way. And so we would talk a lot about, my challenges on making sure my projects move forward, and when there's crisis in the department or the company where you have some real emergency things happening, real world, you know how you handle those. And so I think that is really good for students to hear.
And what has been your impression so far of our students at STEM School Highlands Ranch after having some time working with them?
Yeah, I just fabulous school. Conrad was a great kid. He's got a really great future. I've been on a couple of other like bigger broadcast things through the STEM school, and the questions were great, engaged people, excited. Yeah, I worked literally across the street from you all before the lockdown of COVID, but I've heard just great things about the school, and I really enjoyed getting to know Conrad.
And tell me about your role on the advisory board, why you went for it, and what you're hoping to get out of it moving forward.
Yeah. So Dr. Kennedy asked me to join, and I just think it's a great organization. One of the things I've always wanted to do as I'm kind of ending my career, like all through my career, I've always tried to stay engaged with education. I did junior achievement for many years, where we'd go into the schools and teach. It was mainly elementary school, and teach about finance, kind of, at the most basic of terms, and I've always kind of had this dream that when I retire, to get more into financial education in high schools or middle schools, or even clubs, to be able to kind of give my real world experience to youth. Now, what I mean is, it's not about how Visa moves money or anything like that. It's more personal finance. And so I think getting in this organization, I can kind of understand a little more what that might look like in the future, and how I can help at the high school or middle school level.
Now, Senior Director Treasury at Visa sounds
Mhm.
like a big job with some big responsibilities. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, so we Visa is not that large of a company. I think we have 18,000 employees. And when you think about the billions of dollars we move around the world every day, it's, it's a pretty small company. So what we do, and what Treasury does, is literally moves all the money after people swipe their credit card around the world. So when, let's say you go into a Target and use your credit card, that your Visa card, I should say, which I'm sure everyone uses, but you would use it at Target. Target has a processor. They tell their processor, Jeff used his card and owes $100 to Target. They send that to Visa. Visa takes the money from Jeff's credit card company. So if you bank with Chase, if you have your Visa from Chase, we'll take $100 from Chase, send it to the Target bank account, basically. So we move all that money and send, thousands of lines of reporting and statistics and everything else for every transaction. And we do about 13,000 transactions a second. So that equates to about 60 to 80 billion dollars a day we move in Treasury.
It's pretty amazing to think about that, because from a consumer standpoint, I go to Target, I get some groceries, I swipe, I'm done with it, and then
Mm-hmm.
pay off my credit card bill.
Right. Right.
And that's all we think about as consumers.
Right.
We don't think about all of the moving parts that go on behind the scenes to make that happen, and that's a
Yep.
part of your job.
Yep. And it's yeah, and that's all you should think about. I mean, one of Visa's goals is to make that transaction so easy for you. So you will be using your Visa card rather than checks or cash or anything else. And that's why, like the new apps on your phone, or, your wearable apps, Visa's goal in the marketing group, their goal is to make it, your preference, the way to pay.
Absolutely. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to add about your relationship with STEM moving forward and this position on the advisory board that we haven't covered yet?
I'm just excited. I've just exploring the role still. I just joined, so I'm excited to get to know some more people at STEM. I know the business teacher there. I connected with her briefly. I'm really intrigued by what she teaches, and hopefully her and I can have more, dialogue in the future.
Well, Margaret Albrecht, Senior Director Treasury at Visa, thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to this position that you have on the advisory board and all of the great knowledge and experience that you're passing on to our students. We know that that is truly invaluable, and we thank you for that.
Great, thank you.